Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to my DIY channel, Home Maintenance Edition. Today we're going to go over how to fix your lawn. We're going to take it step by step. We're going to treat it like a project. We're going to have a scope, a budget, a plan, and we're going to execute it. And we're going to teach you what you need to do in order to complete this project successfully. We have a lot of things to go over, so let's jump right into it. While this project primarily covers the cool season zone, I will touch on the different grasses and fertilizer used in the transition and southern zones as well. The weed killer we're going to use along with the overseeding process works in every zone. You can identify what zone you're in by this map right here to help you choose the best seed for your lawn. For those outside the cool season zone, check with your local suppliers to find out what seed blend works best in your area. As a reference, I've listed the popular blends in each zone on the right hand side. Week 1, right after you cut your lawn, apply your post-emergent weed herbicide. The herbicide used on this project was the 8-ounce concentrate bottle of Meso 4SC, which is the brother to the Tenacity brand. Both have the same active ingredient, mesotrione. Week 2. At the end of week 2, in order to properly prepare your lawn before aeration, rake and de-thatch your lawn with special attention to trouble spots. This allows the seed to sit directly on the soil instead of on top of the thatch, allowing a quicker germination process. Week 3, aerate your lawn manually or call a service to perform this task. Aeration assures your lawn gets enough water, nutrients, and oxygen to build a good root system for your new seed and is highly recommended. After aeration is completed, it's time to overseed. The seed we used on this project was Jonathan Green's Black Beauty Ultra. For our broadcast spreader, we put our setting on 5.5 and then spread over the potential trouble areas by hand. If you have a drop spreader, the setting is 8.5 for overseeding and 12.5 for new grass. Also in week 3, we will be applying a starter fertilizer to add a nutritional value to our seeds and soil. This can be applied before or after the overseeding. However, on this project, we are applying it after the overseeding. Starter fertilizer can be applied again in 3 to 4 weeks. And finally, the most important task after overseeding and starter fertilizer is watering once to twice a day through the month of October. Pro tip, I did find in the trouble areas, it really helped after seeding to put a layer of peat moss on top of the seed to help lock in the moisture during the watering process to help germinate the seeds better. So here we are in a cool season zone state in late August. And if I had to pick a before shot of a horrible looking lawn for this project, this would be it right here. This lawn has so many weeds in it right now, it's just flat out embarrassing. We have major crabgrass, spurge, nutsedge, and oxalis. It's literally crying out for some major attention right now. I have dead spots, heavy thatch areas, but you know what? I'm not worried about it because we are going to fix this lawn and show you a step-by-step process on how to achieve a beautiful looking lawn. Right here, I have nutsedge in a dead spot. Nutsedge is pretty easy to pull up, as you can see, but in order to pull up all the nutsedge on this lawn, it would probably take over 2.5 hours. So that's why we're going to introduce to you a weed killer by the name of Meso 4SC. But first, let's get a look at some of the rest of this lawn here. And yet even more crabgrass and dead spots. So get a good look at this lawn because in about 8 weeks, you're not going to be able to recognize it. Coming up right here, we have a whole field of nutsedge and crabgrass together all in one. And this is the worst part of the lawn right here. We will monitor this and watch it very closely. This is the back lawn, and what we see a lot here, because it's a shady area, is Creeping Charlie, which is sometimes also referred to as ground ivy. I'm really curious to see how the Meso 4SC kills this off. So let's go mix a weed killer cocktail, shall we? So this is an overlook of our weed application products. We have the 8-ounce Meso 4SC, which is used by landscapers, golf courses, sod farms as a pre- and post-emergent herbicide that controls over 45 broadleaf weed species. Meso is short for the active ingredient mesotrione, which is also found in the Tenacity brand. The difference between the two, about $10 to $25. And you don't have to use the dye, and you don't have to use a surfactant, but it is recommended. This is surfactant by Southern AG. It's 1 teaspoon to 1 gallon. The reason we're using a surfactant today is because weeds naturally have a wax coating on them. And if you just spray the water with the weed killer, it's going to go right over the leaf, where the surfactant will help the chemical adhere to the leaf. And that's why we're using the surfactant today. Okay, so this is all shaken up and ready to go. So we're going to open this. What we have here is a regular bottle of water filled up with tap water. Pro tip lesson learned, I would not fill the shaker bottle above the highlighted yellow line as seen in this picture. Reason, you don't want to overflow the bottle. I'm going to use this to shake up all the ingredients here. So I can just pour it right in to my 2-gallon sprayer. So the measurements are pretty simple. It's 1 teaspoon for a 2-gallon sprayer and 2 teaspoons for a 4-gallon sprayer. Pretty simple. And that's about 1 right there. Okay, so that's 1 measurement for the meso, right? The next measurement we're going to have is for the surfactant, and it's 1 teaspoon per gallon of water for your sprayer. So I have a 2-gallon sprayer, so I'm basically going to take 2 teaspoons of the surfactant. And we're just going to borrow the Meso 4SC syringe to measure out the 2 teaspoons. The next thing we're going to do is pretty easy. So it's just a pattern indicator to show you exactly where you're spraying. This step, guys, is totally optional. I saw it in a video. It looked pretty cool, so I just wanted to try it out to see what it looked like. We're going to take an eyedropper full of the liquid dye and put it into our water bottle here. That'll be the measurement for our 2-gallon sprayer. Next, we're just going to secure the cap on top and give it a mix. This is it. So that's how we mix all 3 of these together for this combined weed killer. The reason we do put it in the water bottle is that so when we pour it into the container of the 2-gallon sprayer or the 4-gallon sprayer, it'll mix with the water more easily. Before our weed application, we're going to cut our lawn 1 more time, but at a shorter setting. In the cool season zone, the normal setting I cut our lawn with a walk-behind lawnmower is 1 notch down from the highest setting. Before our weed application, however, I'm cutting our ugly lawn 2 to 3 notches down from the highest setting. You usually don't want to go shorter than that. For the transition zone and warm season zones, I would definitely check with your local garden centers and home centers just to make sure that your blend of seed that you purchased is being cut at the right height. So before we pour our cocktail into the 2-gallon sprayer, there's some sediment on the bottom, so you want to shake your cocktail very good until the sediment's all gone, just like this. You pour the contents in, rinse the bottle out, get the camera wet, and then fill our 2-gallon sprayer. And after pumping it up, we are ready to apply our first weed killer application. And that's all there is to it. As far as the application is concerned, the same way you mow your lawn is the same way you apply your weed killer. Keep it simple. So after about 2 weeks of your application of the Meso 4SC or Tenacity Weed Killer, you will start to see the whitening of your weeds as pictured here. This is a great confirmation that you just killed your weeds like a boss. So congratulations, good job. Next, it's time to take the first step to start prepping your lawn for overseeding by raking and de-thatching. So what is thatch? Thatch is that layer of dead grass that sits between your grass and soil. The reason we remove it is so the soil could breathe better and we could apply the seed directly on the soil as opposed to the dead grass. There are 3 options when it comes to raking and or de-thatching your lawn. It all depends on the size of your lawn and your budget. Option 1. This is your most labor intensive but very affordable. I did mine this way, and although it was a lot of work, the reward was worth it. Pro tip number 1, you'll be doing a lot of raking, so make sure you use gloves to prevent blisters. Pro tip 2, when raking, use the crosshatch method over the same trouble areas, from north to south and east to west, to optimize your thatch accumulation. Option 2, you can always rent a de-thatching machine from your local rental store or home center. Note, there are some electric de-thatching machine options on the market today with very good ratings. The last one I checked out was by Greenworks. This unit had over 5,000 ratings at 4.5 stars. Not too shabby. It has a 14-inch de-thatching path and a 3-position tine adjustment. I'll leave a link in the description below so you can check it out for yourself. And then there's option 3, which is the most expensive. You could always call a landscaper or a lawn service for one or all 3 of the following: de-thatching, aeration, and overseeding. But the last time I checked, this is a DIY channel where we try to save money and do it ourselves. I'll give you a pass on one service, but that's it. The rest, I know we could do ourselves. So that concludes part 1 of how to fix your lawn like a pro, where we went over our project intro, project plan, grass growing zones, popular seed blends, weed killer mixing and application, and the rake and de-thatching preparation. Next, in part 2, we're going to go over aeration, product overview, overseeding, starter fertilizer, overseeding FT, project close, and more. I'm happy to report at this point in the project, we're running on schedule and we're looking forward to the next step in part 2.